Hi guys, welcome to our channel. This is Django Coder. This video is the part 3 of our programming basics series, where we'll be talking about loops, arrays, and methods. In our last video, we learned about the different operators, IO components, and conditional statements. The topics we'll be treating today are a little more complex, but once you can understand them, then you are set to learn any programming language that you want. Without much ado, let's start with loops. What does it mean to loop through something? It simply means going from start to finish and then back again over and over again. In programming, loops allow the repetition of a certain block of code multiple times until a specific condition is met. There are several types of loops, but the two main types from which other loops are derived are the while loop and the for loop. Let's talk about the while loop. Imagine you came to the store with a very long list of items to buy, and you don't know how long it's going to take you to get all the items. Some items might not be available, and you might have to wait till they replace it. You just know that you came to the store by 10 a.m., for example, and you are done only when you have gotten all the items on your list. It can be by 12 noon or by 6 p.m. Hence, the store is the while loop. You keep going in and out of different aisles and loops, picking up items until you exhaust your list. Here, your ending condition is getting all the items in your list. Once that condition is true, then it's time to leave the store. Same way in programming, the code block inside a while loop is executed repeatedly as long as the specified condition remains true. We exit the loop when the condition no longer applies or becomes false. The while loop would look like this. We have a shopping list which contains milk, bread, eggs, and juice. Then we set our while loop condition. While shopping list is not empty, the shopping list is the condition. So while this condition remains true, we go get the next item. But once the shopping list is now empty, the condition becomes false and we exit the loop, which is going to be exiting the store. Next is for loop. Again, let's imagine we came to the store with a list of items like before, but this time we know exactly how long we want to spend at the store. We came by 12 a.m. like before, but we would like to leave by 11 a.m. We have just 1 hour for this shopping, maybe because we're trying to catch a particular bus back home. So we set our timer and start going in and out of the aisles in loops, walking really fast to get as much items as possible. And as soon as our timer is up, we bolt out of the store to be able to make our bus. The store in this case acts as a for loop because we know exactly when we want the loop to end and leave the store. A for loop is used to iterate over a sequence such as a list and execute the code block repeatedly for a specific number of times. The for loop would look like this. We have a shopping list, the milk, bread, eggs, and juice, and we have a start time, which is going to start at 10 a.m., and we have an end time for 11 a.m. Our for loop is going to have initialization of the timer to the start time, and then once the timer is less than or equal to the end time, which means that the timer is up, we leave the store. But then at the same time, we want to make sure that if the shopping list is exhausted before the timer ends, we still leave the store. So for these three conditions, once one is no longer true, we leave the store. Next, we talk about arrays. Back to our shopping analogy, imagine that at the grocery store, you have a shopping cart, or you can have many shopping carts that can hold several items. Some people would want to have one cart per item. You can have one for meat produce, one for fruit and veggies, one for supply, etc. Or you can have all your items in one cart. The shopping cart is similar to an array in programming. In programming, an array is a data structure that allows you to store multiple elements of the same type or multiple types. Some languages will only allow one type in an array, while others can allow multiple types in the same array. Now back to our editor. To use an array, we first declare the array, which will be empty, just like getting an empty shopping cart. Next, we add items to our array. We have that the first item is milk, we add the second item, bread, we add the third item, egg, and last item, juice. Notice that this code is not specific to any programming language, and each language will have a slightly different syntax. But this is all the basics that we need for arrays at the moment. Lastly, we'll be talking about methods. In our shopping analogy, imagine you came to the store with your kids. Instead of going around looking for all the items in the list yourself, you can delegate each item on the list to each child. Once they find them, they return it to you at the checkout for processing. This is exactly what methods are used for in programming. Methods, also known as functions, are blocks of code that perform specific operations. They are reusable procedures that allow you to encapsulate functionality and avoid duplicating code. Back to our editor. Let's assume this is our main program, which represents the shopping program. We write the list of all the items, and then we have a while loop. This while loop is going to simply check if the shopping list is not empty, and then we just go around looking for all our items. We look for milk, we add milk to the shopping cart, and we take milk to checkout. Now, in a real world scenario, we won't necessarily go to the checkout after adding each item to the cart. But to demonstrate the concept of methods, let's just assume that we take each item to the checkout once we find it. We look for the bread, we put it in the shopping cart, we take it to checkout. Finally, the last item gets taken to the checkout. Now, we can instead send the kids, which is equivalent to having methods, and then call them to bring the items when they find it, which is equivalent to method call in programming. Hence, we have the getMilk method, look for milk, add milk to the shopping cart, return the milk, which is taken to the checkout. Now, each method has a return type, which can be nothing, void. We can have a method that returns nothing, or in this case, type milk. But in actual programming, it will be any of the variable types, the int, the string, the double, the boolean, etc. Next, we have the getBread method. You look for the bread, you add bread to the shopping cart, you return the bread, take it to the checkout. The return type here is bread. And then you do this for the rest of the items until you get to the juice. The return type can also be boolean, true or false. And this would be similar to just sending the kids to check if milk is available. And then they'll return to tell you either yes, there is milk, or no, there is no milk. They were not required to come back with milk. Okay, so you can have a function that returns only true or false without any items, just true or false. Our main program is going to look like this. While the list is not empty, we just do the function call. So you send them out to get the milk, get the bread, get the egg, get the juice, and then they come back with the items to the checkout. You check out and exit the loop, which is the store. We can see that methods serve as a very powerful tool for organizing and managing code. They allow you to break down complex operations into smaller manageable parts, making your code more modular, readable, and reusable. That will be all we have for you for today. If you like this video, if you have enjoyed this series, please like and subscribe. And we're going to have more actual programming tutorials coming your way very soon.